It's tabletop time! I'm Jazza from Draw with Jazza.
I'm Chad from I'm Chad.
I'm Amy.
And I'm Mackie.
And we're here to do some role-playing!
Now, Rob's not with us, and Amy has wonderfully agreed to join us, which is awesome, because we've had Amy on in the past, and this time she gets to join for more than one evening, because for the next 3 weeks, we're going to do a mini-campaign led by Shad. He just couldn't not be the first one to do a medieval campaign. Yes. I don't know, something about being enthusiastic about swords and other phallic objects.
This campaign has swords, there's castles, and stuff!
And swords!
And peasants, and mud!
So we have no idea what characters we're going to play. We're going to have to come up with them pretty quick because we want to start playing ASAP. And I figure this is probably going to be a pre-campaign intro video. Like we'll just do like a little. You can give us one. We'll do like a real quick setup video.
I'll give you a rundown of the setting that you are based in.
Set the scene and we'll talk.
Well,
characters.
The reason why I'm so excited for this is actually this setting that we are playing in is I don't know what you would call it. It's kind of I was going to say my baby. That doesn't.
It's sort of your baby.
It's kind of my baby.
Let's give him a rundown. So Shad's been writing a world basically since you were like 16, 12.
Yeah,
really young.
I started
Called by the Sword.
Yes, that's the title of the book.
And that's the book you've written. So he's actually written one. He's trying to get published. But the point is,
I've written 5 different versions based in different times. But anyway.
The point is, the setting and world is something he's also built in a way that we can base a campaign in, a mini campaign. So he's throwing us into this world that is pretty much built and written.
It's very extensive because, like I said, I've written several books. Most of them are crap because those are the books I wrote to learn how to write.
People are going to ask to read them, but the reality is trying to get them published, so we won't put them out anytime soon.
Sorry, guys.
But anyway, let's jump into it. Give us a rundown of what we're familiar with.
I have a bit of a quick dialogue.
Do you want to bring it in front of you? So
just a paragraph written to introduce the world, and I shall read it to you. In an epic voice of awesomeness, or just a normal voice. The people's
wait. Do you want an echo? No, never mind.
No, that's fine. The peoples who live in this world of kings and knights, castles and wilderness, men and monsters, know it only as the realm, the place where the sun rises and life is short, if not cheap. Some would call the realm medieval, but for the rumours and fearful tales that men hesitate to whisper of strange creatures and forgotten magics are as real as the old women who pass them on. If there are any who hold to wisdom, they will listen to the warning voice of the old, for they have only become such by being afraid of the dark and hesitating to leave their homes when the sun has ceased to shine its light. So, as you might have guessed from that, the setting is called The Realm. It is a medieval setting, and the way I could kind of describe it, trying to be brief, is that it is not a Tolkien fantasy. It's more of it's got a lot more historical flavour to it, though there are very traditional fantasy kind of creatures in them. Except the prominence of these creatures, okay, and my comparison is this. If you could go back in time to the medieval times, right, where people were superstitious and the tales of trolls under bridges were told and, you know, all the scary warning stuff. So there is as many tales of these strange creatures and happenings in this world as, say, in history, except in this case, those tales are real, okay? So that's about it. It's a very, very strong medieval flavour.
Can you give us a sense of where we're going to be starting?
Okay, well, you guys are going to be a group of adventurers, though they aren't really known to be called adventurers yet. You're more, you know, free spirits that have, I've got something written here to describe you.
Okay.
Some would call your group rogues, mercenaries, or opportunists. But you like to see yourself as adventurers, those who have cast off the shackles of home and complacency to make their way in the world and leave their mark on it. For good or ill, your names will be remembered.
Yay.
So for whatever reason, you have left the common drudgery of normal everyday life to seek whatever goals you have, to riches, glory, adventure, excitement, revenge, whatever it is. But whatever those reasons are, you have come to be traveling together because there is safety in numbers, especially in a world like this. And so you will already be together, and you will be traveling towards a village that has set out a cry for help.
Cool.
Okay.
So let's spitball. What are we feeling as characters? Because we have no idea what we're going to do.
Well, these are the things. Fantasy creatures do exist, and they are more kind of based on not Tolkien versions of, say, elves and dwarves, but more historical fable versions of elves and dwarves.
So you're saying there are some fantasy races available to us? Okay.
Now, the thing is, though, like dwarves, they're about as very much as accurate to the kind of tales that are told about them. These are strange, grubby creatures that live underground near the underworld, and if you are caught in their lair, they will capture you and cook you up in a pot to eat, kind of thing. And they're known to, you know, prey upon miners out of nowhere and stuff like that.
Paedophile dwarves?
No.
Dwarves?
Eat dwarves. They eat. They don't. What are you talking about?
Cannibal?
They eat people.
They seduce young boys and take them into cabins.
I don't know why you're so, you know...
I don't know why you're writing a world intricately with paedophile dwarves, but I object.
Did I say that?
I disagree with the tone in the direction this is going in. I'm sorry. All right, so I'm going to play a paedophile dwarf named George. Okay, I'm joking. No, let's actually talk character ideas.
Yes,
what sort of... I would like.
So I just want to mention the implications if you were to play a legitimate fantasy creature. Okay, you would need to hide it because most people who see you would try and kill you on the spot for being something of the devil. Okay, like because this is being a very rich medieval setting, the church is a very big thing in the culture. So religion, and it's very kind of traditional medieval kind of thing, and so therefore anything that is supernatural or unnatural is considered of the devil. People are very superstitious and they will get burnt at the stake kind of thing. What are you laughing at?
Sorry, Rob's comment, he said in chat, it's called roleplay because you play a character other than yourself, Jazza. I'm not a paedophile dwarf.
Well said, my friend. Well said.
Anyway, so that burns. All right, well, I'm thinking human. Anyways, I don't know, what are you guys feeling in terms of character type?
You could be, magic exists. And
so you can be a mage.
The magic is actually very, very thorough and thought out. There's a very full-on system with rules and everything in place for the magic system, but it's all secret and it's all very unknown. Most people don't believe in magic, and if they do see you using magic, again, they'll probably think of the devil, burn at the stake, attack, kill, and
what about in the situation where you're something like a paladin or something like that, so a warrior of the church and that sort of thing?
They're absolutely warrior of the church. Those are clerics. The clerics can fulfill the more martial, free side of the church, or you could be one of their crusaders, which are one of the, basically their private army of the crusaders.
How do people look upon them if they use magic? Is it as...
if you were a legitimately one, like you would, you know, believe in the, you know, religion and dogma of the church and stuff like that, there'd be very, very unlikely for you to be using magic because it's expressly against the dictates of the church. Because there's no such thing as non-evil magic to the church in their eyes.
Cool. What are you feeling?
Having said that, of course, magic is not evil or good.
Okay, so we've had a really good setup. Let's talk, because we actually have to make characters and start playing. And we have the whole night ahead of us, so let's get going. No, I'm not objecting. I'm excited to start. What are you feeling?
I think I'm like already thinking some sort of background, maybe in the church, and then I've left the church. So I've got a knowledge of like the religion and that sort of thing, but I've kind of gone rogue.
I like that. That is sounding cool.
Cool. Give us a brief, brief rundown of the religion of the church.
Look, it's very kind of Christian based, okay, you know, so crosses are, you know, kind of all there. It's all very much medievalist thing, and so there's a lot of corruption and oppression in regards to religion. They really kind of stick their fingers into politics and finances and trade and everything. So very much, like I said, this is this whole setting is built to be very, very medieval in an authentic kind of sense, but with actual legitimate fantasy elements in.
Okay.
Cool. So, yeah, there you go.
In terms of like doctrines and stuff, it's all fairly Roman Catholic,
Yes,
okay.
except there isn't there's not much mention of the. Oh, one thing I do have to mention. This is a completely forgot. I've been focusing on the campaign, kind of the plot devices and stuff, and I haven't given myself a full refresher of the setting. There is something that is very important in the world. It's called the Black Death. The Black Death is something that comes upon anyone who has not said a specific kind of prayer for the period of a week. If you have not said this prayer...
So does that mean everyone has to be religious, essentially?
Basically.
Okay, a certain type of religious? Can they be naughty and do
Yeah,
anything?
absolutely. You can murder, kill, rape, pillage, or anything, and if you say this prayer, you won't die.
What's the prayer, the rough gist of the prayer?
It's very standard and basic.
You're an awesome God, please don't hurt me, please don't hurt me. Amen.
Thank you, God, for giving me life. I have it written down and it's in more formal language. Thank you, God, for giving me life, and that's basically kind of the
So can someone be like a murderer and be stabbing people to death, like children to death? Be like, thank you, God, for giving me life, and that's their prayer.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
And so what happens is, if you don't say this prayer for the period of a week, you die, and it's characterized by your eyes becoming jet black. And it's called, and then there's like black kind of scorch marks, kind of.
And you're actually dead, and you
die.
If you see someone dead that way, you know they've
been struck down by the Black Death.
What if someone's in a coma for over a week?
This is where the priests come in. The priest can say a prayer on behalf of someone else who is not able to say it. Okay, and so they fulfill that role.
So you're familiar with that, I imagine, Mackie.
One of the common death sentences in the world is cutting out people's tongues.
So they can't say the prayer and they get the Black Death.
And if a priest comes across someone with no tongue, no help.
Really? But they'll find strangers, I imagine, who will do it for them. Yeah. Cool. That's nifty. All right. So you're feeling religious.
So angels and demons theoretically exist.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
To very specific detail, but as to how common they are, they're about as common as coming across, say, a dwarf or a pixie or something like that.
Do you understand the concept of a Nephilim?
They're a type of angel.
So like a fallen angel?
Nephilim.
They're the children
Angel
of
made
angels
human,
and demons.
The Nephilim they can be very misunderstood things, but generally I've heard that they can be giants in terms of the original lore and stuff like that. So
it depends on the universe you're in, but
are you wanting to be a child of an angel?
Generally speaking, Nephilim are the children of angels and demons, like when they crossbreed, essentially.
Okay, that wouldn't really happen. I mean, unless in terms of story and plot, that would be like so astronomically out of the ordinary for it to happen. But so. Yeah, I'm not sure about it, but do you want to be like half angel, half demon?
Yeah, I'm thinking of being a Nephilim.
Whoa.
Because technically, in a lot of lore as well, humans are technically
so you would have
the children of Nephilim. So.
If you would have like wings and stuff.
No. So for the most part, I would look human.
See, that would be unlikely. Like if you were a child of an angel and demon, you would have characteristics from the things. And when I say demon, the demons look like Diablo from the game Diablo. They're fire, brimstone, and stuff like that. And so, yeah.
I'll just be a human.
Yeah, you would have distinct characteristics that would look from an angel and from a demon. And so...
What are you feeling, Amy?
Well, I was sort of thinking... It was similar to his idea, except a little bit different. But if it's not going to work, then I can.
I will just interject to let you know what the magic that's available. So, sorcerer, wizard, witch, druid, necromancer, true cleric. So proper like cleric with divine powers. Those are the magics that are available. They technically all still exist in the world, but have gone very much underground because, a couple of thousand years ago, they were almost hunted to extinction by fanatics of the church and stuff. And anything that is, like I said, unnatural doesn't really last very long. But those options are available to you if you wanted to go them. So just sorry to interrupt, Amy.
That's okay. Well, I sort of wanted to have some. I'm looking at obviously a girl. Well, I mean not obviously, but that's what I would like to play. It's easy for me. Anyway.
Why is playing a girl easy for you?
Because I'm a girl.
Sorry.
Okay. You know, sort of teenager, young adult, sort of. Okay, and having some sort of abnormal quality, but which I don't know, passed down from her parents or something. And her parents left her with her auntie because they didn't want anyone to find out, and they're sort of paying her off and stuff. And her auntie treats her really crap, so she decides to leave and do something else because she like something that's sort of subtle though, that you know isn't really
a mild
obvious.
Supernatural trait is what you're kind of asking.
You have super AIDS. What?
Oh, Jazza. All right. I'm just looking up. Sorry, you speak. Tell us about your character while I'm trying.
I'm thinking prankster. Really good with a slingshot. Insanely good with a slingshot. Grew up on a farm. Spent his whole life pranking people, not doing his work, causing trouble. Was always really antsy and wanting to get out there. Good-natured sort of kid. He's still pretty young. He's probably like 17, 18. Sort of really just stretching his legs. But basically, as soon as he was coming of age, his parents were like, "Go! Explore the world! Leave us alone!" So, yeah, he's not quite epic, but he's unnaturally skilled with the sling. He has spent his
when you say sling, you're talking about.
I mean, yeah, like, and he can like pot shot very precise things from a very far distance.
Okay, so I'm thinking you would need to slings type things that'd be more common in much more rural kind of areas. In the kingdom.
Grew up in a farming area. Again, prankster. So in terms of goals and things like that, I think he wants to really see the world and maybe be something in the world, but he doesn't really know what that means. As in, like, he lives in such a small town and he hears stories of adventurers through songs and travellers and all this sort of thing. So it's all quite mystical and magical to him, but he doesn't quite know what it means for someone to be a well-known adventurer. But he has these delusions of grandeur in his head. And I'm thinking he might have this disabling characteristic of something. Do you mind if I roll for one now?
Yeah, go ahead.
He has... What's eight? What's eight?
I shall look up.
I should probably get my rulebook out.
That would be helpful.
Yeah, I should probably start bringing mine, actually.
I have loads here, I just need to have them out. Hang on.
Okay, 8. Again?
What?
It's kleptomaniacy. Reroll!
No. You can
Kleptomaniacy
just...
comes up so often. Why do we always roll kleptomaniacy?
Eights of... I guess...
Just to make things
No. Guys. You got to stick with our roll. You're the narrator. It's up to you to make it interesting.
No.
So you can add parameters or specifications to that are different to other times you've used it. Think about it. It fits the prankster thing.
All right. Well, yeah, it does. Ooh, all right. Your particular inclination is whenever you see food of any kind, you need to at least grab a portion of it and pocket it to save it for a rainy day.
And I'm going to add that to my story in the sense that I grew up in a big family out on this farm, like 13 kids. So obviously that's one of the reasons I was always bored, because there's so much chaos and you get lost in it. And so he was real sort of like middle of that chaos, sort of go and escape and cause trouble for attention and all that sort of thing. And the food thing, obviously, in a self-sustaining, farm life sort of thing, food's hard to come by. So whenever there's any sort of food, it's always first in, best dressed, and he always had to sort of fight for it. So even being around civilized people who have food readily available to them, he doesn't cognitively understand that. He's always thinking it's scarce.
Yes,
so he's
I love it. Yeah. All right, cool. Amy, I have some questions for you in regards to this possible supernatural thing.
You get 2 points for a roll?
Yes, for a roll.
Sorry, go on.
Okay, so with the kind of image that you have for your character, I'm going to describe some I guess, feelings or states of whatever, and I want you to tell me which one most appeals to your character.
Okay.
Okay, so first one is a serene, calm ocean, serenity, contentment, peace. So there's that. The next one is motion, energy, power, strength, excitement. The next one is life, birth, growth, nature, food. The next one is change, renewal, infinite possibility, life and death. So out of those concepts, which one appealed most to your character? What are you thinking?
Life, birth, nature, food.
Ooh, alrighty.
Food! Yay!
Okay. In you, for as long as you've known, for some weird reason, you can shrink yourself.
Oh. Oh.
That's an awkward conversation. Where'd you go?
Yeah.
God damn it!
So,
Come up here right now!
so the smallest that you can get to is about the size. This size.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
And it's a complete thing. Everything that you're wearing shrinks with you.
Just
Okay.
shrink so she
But
can't
you
hit the
can't
guy.
shrink another person. It's only
Okay,
you.
just myself. I like it.
And so, a couple of interesting things. You would be terrified about anyone learning about this.
Yes. Okay.
Because you know, if officials, fanatics, or even devout anyone knows about this, and word gets to the church about it, an inquisitor is going to be hunting you down, and yeah. So that's a very serious thing.
Yes. Okay. And yeah, I should. No, that's all right. Okay.
Now, how this ability will work in game, it's basically going to be like a skill. I will give you challenge levels depending on circumstance and situations that you'll need to roll. And if you want, you can actually put skills in it as a proficiency, this shrinking thing.
Okay.
So if you see proficiency on your character sheet, proficiencies fill the role of kind of supernatural abilities or spells and stuff like that in cogent roleplay. And so
Speaking
Amy can
of-
choose to put skills on that if she likes.
Speaking of cogent roleplay, we actually haven't plugged it. Do you want to run us through it quickly?
Cogent Roleplay is the role-playing system that we are currently using, developed by Jazza and myself, and it's a lot of fun. It does the job. It's available at cogentroleplay.com.
Let me just bring up thing.
The thing on the thing.
There's a
It's
screen.
a thing.
There's a good thing.
So is there anything on like with me
Yes.
shrinks?
Yes.
Eventually.
Okay.
Didn't work.
I mean, they can see it kind of in your
And you
screen.
might be able to develop it
Didn't
Okay.
work.
to work in other ways, but that's kind of outside character stuff. But
well.
you know, yeah,
Deal with it
just,
later.
Alrighty.
just letting you know. But when you do it, whenever you shrink, a slight light starts to kind of glow around you very faintly, but it's a green light, very soft,
Is it
very
permanent?
faint. Only while you're doing the ability,
Okay.
supernatural ability thing. So it's
Can
kind
she
of
shrink,
weird.
like, say, just her arm?
No, and it's full. No, so it's a whole body.
Cool. So I'm just going to whack a character sheet on the screen so that people watching this know what we're doing right now. And Shad, if you could run Amy once again through building a character, because this is something unique to our system. This isn't like Dungeons and Dragons. It's a little different. So basically, Amy gets 2 attribute points. Is that correct? That's
Yes.
the default. You
Yes.
can, if you want, as a narrator, give someone maybe 1 attribute point, but you can fill in 2 boxes in 2 attribute points of your choosing: strength, reflex, or intelligence. I, for example, have chosen 2 reflex. What are
I've
you
so
thinking?
far chosen 1 strength. I'll probably choose 1 intelligence as well.
Cool.
I'll probably go reflex intelligence.
Awesome. And for those of you who don't know, 1 point in something means you're like professional level. So like a point in strength means you're like athletic, professionally strong. And 2 points means you're like unnaturally gifted, world class.
Yeah, Olympic level basically. And that's the abilities. Then we'll get to skills. You start off with 8 points, but if you have a point in intelligence, you get an additional 3 for each point in intelligence that you have. And then you put them wherever you like. So what's the background of your character, Amy? So you have this supernatural ability that you've been born with.
Okay. My parents knew about it,
Mm-hmm.
and they left me with my auntie for whatever reason, whether they were worried being with them would expose me or whether they didn't want me. I'm not sure.
Okay, now I'll just point out something as well. I've been kind of real saying that the church, anything supernatural, the church will attack. There's the other side to that coin, because the church, of course, believes in supernatural things if it's from God. Now, there are very many people who actually, when something happens in their lives that is supernatural, you either are at great risk of being burned at the stake unless you can convince them that you're being blessed by God. And if that's the case, then suddenly you're going to become like almost a holy figure in your local community. People will go to you to, you know, have you pray over them and stuff like that. Okay. So, but a big thing as to how to convince the church if it's from God or from the devil is the nature of what it can do. If it's got fire, anything involved in it, or is it destructive anyway? No. If it's got a nice thing, or if it can financially benefit the church or anything like that, it's of God.
Okay.
Okay? So,
Okay. All right, so they decided to leave me with my auntie and sort of tip her off in a way, like sort of beg her or give her something to please not tell anyone.
Oh, and just to let you know, you can't fully control the ability.
All right.
So there's going to be points where I'm going to say it's starting to try and burst out. And if you fail the roll to control it...
All right. Okay, this will be interesting.
That's awesome.
So you'll want to put a few points in that so you don't fail the roll.
If you do. Yeah.
Okay. And she accepted, but treated me really badly. Didn't really care for me
Cinderella.
that much. Oh, yeah. It does sound a bit that.
That's cool. Actually, I love kind of the authentic stuff. Like, you know, the real traditional fairy tale folklore kind of thing. So that fits in really well.
Alrighty,
Like,
that's good.
That's great.
Okay, so, and living like that, I guess, for her, you know, they left me when I was a child. As a young adult, you know, I've had enough. That was my reason for leaving.
Alrighty. Awesome. So we'll probably move towards Mackie. Well, I'd like you to think about, Amy, like, if there's any combative things you might have learned, what's going to be like, because you do want to make a character that's going to be successful as an adventurer. And so you want to figure out things that she might have learned along the way to help her out. So swinging back to you, Mackie. Any more development there? So you're a former crusader?
Yeah, so basically I'm going to say I was studying to be like a priest or something like that at the church, and then like midway through my late teens I rebelled and decided that it wasn't for me.
Yeah, and just to interject, I have been obviously kind of emphasising the corrupt side of the church, and really there is a big level of corruption. Having said that, there are heaps of devout, righteous, good people and they're members of the, you know, this institution as well. So even the priests as well, there's some, you know, so just to let you know on that side as well.
Yeah.
So you decided it wasn't for you. Is that because of a very bad experience, which could have been very possible?
I'm gonna say just as a human being was a bit rebellious, but believed in the ideals of the church, but couldn't adhere to all the rules, so would get in trouble from time to time, and then just either got kicked out or just had enough of the strict rules and left.
So that's for the priesthood specifically. So
yes.
you were starting to be a priest. So did you then join up with the Crusaders?
I'm going to say yes for a couple of years, because my character's about 33, so he's getting on a bit.
I like that. And just to let you know, the code of conduct is very different for the Crusaders. Okay, basically the church doesn't really care how they act as long as they're loyal to them. And so the Crusaders actually have a bit more, I guess, freedom to act like total jerks, because they've got the church's kind of authority backing them and stuff. So having said that, there's good ones as well, but they have that kind of power and freedom. But it means you would have been really well equipped and very well trained.
Okay.
Yeah. So the church uses crusaders to protect their chapels, their cathedrals, all their assets, their higher officials and stuff like that. It's their own private personal army. And so if there are any local kind of affairs that they feel particularly, you know, and they have feelings on it, they will send crusaders to support political powers as well, and they might even get crusaders to join armies and stuff like that. And so there are a lot of kingdoms who pander to the church to try and get their support, because if they can convince the church their war is a holy war, well, guess what? They've just got a few more thousand troops at their back.
I'm going to say that I actually left the crusade mid to late 20s, and my character decided to pursue law in the universe. So like not L-A-W, L-O-R-E. So when he worked for the crusade, I'm going to say that he spent a lot of his time burning convicted witches and supernatural
you
beings.
were in service to Inquisitor specifically. You were his contingent of crusaders, and yeah, you would have seen some pretty horrible stuff.
So, and from basically that point, my character studied supernatural things.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so the supernatural side of stuff.
Yeah, so I'm going to say like my character wears like a white cape type thing with a shoulder guard on, and carries 2 books that are strapped to him with like chains to his belt, and one's like the Bible equivalent, and one on the other side is like all the mythical creatures that he's encountered, like a diary type encyclopedia thing.
I'm sorry to interrupt, there's a pretty good explanation of our characters in chat from That's Some Bad Juju, who says, so Jazza is Luke Skywalker, Mackie is Maria from The Sound of Music, and Amy is James from James and the Giant Peach. I think that's good, that works. I like it. Sorry, whenever there's a golf clap, everyone needs to join in, because the audio sounds awesome. Because the hands are like right near the mics, and it's like, anyway. So... Have you become a hedge knight? Like, when you left the Crusaders, have you become a hedge knight?
I don't know what that is.
It's a knight who's not sworn specific fealty to a lord permanently. You basically can go from, barony to barony, lord to lord. Say, I'm here in this area for however long. I offer my services to you if you're available, and I'm an official knight. I've got all my kit here, kind of stuff.
And yeah. And obviously the things that pique my interest are supernatural type stuff. I'm going to say for a weapon as well, it'll be like a halberd type thing. So on one side it's like a long spear type thing. On one side it's going to be like a heavy hammer. Beautiful. And on the other side it's weighted and it's a spear tip. Yeah. So I can kind of swing it around as a hammer or use it as a spear tip.
So it's a pole axe with a spiky thing on the other end. Funny thing, most pole axes did have spiky things on the other end, but you want something more bladed, I'm picturing, or spear.
I'm a spiky side, just like a proper spear point.
Spear point.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And on the other side, like a warhammer, essentially.
Yeah, that's a pole axe. A pole axe has a hammerhead, but also an axe on the other side as well, and a big pointy spike as well. It's a beautiful and viciously deadly weapon. Yeah, that's actually awesome. Very, very cool.
What's character disability number 9?
It is paranoia.
Again, okay.
See, that's the thing, is like, I mean, obviously we only have 20 things, but then it's up to the narrator to channel it. You know what I mean? Because food kleptomaniacy is going to feel very different in gameplay to just general kleptomaniac.
Yeah.
You know, so, and it feels much more character type. So,
how would my profession be looked upon by the church as well, like investigating supernatural stuff?
One thing that I need to find out. When I said you're a hedge knight, there is a bit of complication with that, because it means you would have had to have been knighted somehow and sworn to follow the code of chivalry. Okay, so are you happy with that? You want to be a knight that follows chivalry and everything like that?
Sure.
Okay, you don't have to, but the code of chivalry is a very specific and real thing in this world.
Okay.
What, meaning if you break it, you sort of...
Well, no, knights break the code of chivalry all the time. Oh. So don't get me wrong about that. Most knights consider code of chivalry as a convenience thing. Okay. I'll follow it if it's convenient at the time, but if I can get rich by, doing this. Having said that, there is, on the other side of the coin, knights that follow the code religiously.
My character wouldn't follow it religiously.
Alrighty. So that's fine. I'm just,
What sort of paranoia do I have?
I'm trying to figure that out. Because you're interested in supernatural things.
That's true. That fits really well with a paranoia. So.
Well, this is the thing. Are you trying to hunt them out and kill them, kind of like what your old Inquisitor pal was doing? Or are you trying to learn from them in a good way because you don't think they're particularly evil?
All of the above. So both. I'm trying to like learn about them, but...
See, because you got a paranoia. And I'm thinking that paranoia should be... a lot of the people the Inquisitor was trying was generally for like blasphemy and other things like that. But at one point, you legitimately came across a full-on supernatural event. And so I'm thinking you came across a woman who could actually use magic. And though at the time you didn't know it, she was a sorcerer, a sorceress. And she had some fire spells that were crazy dangerous. Like she almost set the village on fire, and I was really... and it was, you almost died, but you were the one who killed her. And you, from that point on, you legitimately have been converted that there are things that go bump in the night and they all need to be killed.
Okay.
Okay, so
clearly define the paranoia all at once.
Is that all supernatural beings? 100% of them
Need to be killed.
Okay.
You're a purger.
Okay.
you're a monster hunter.
Alrighty.
Like, full on.
So you guys are still wrapping up your character sheet stats.
Yep.
So while you do that, we'll go around one last time because we should wrap this up because then we can have an hour for 2 sessions each. So I think, as you finish up your sheets, I'll just show mine one last time and show my stats. And then you guys do the same and then we'll get started.
They're picking on me for wearing apparently Venus.
People in chat reckon Mackie's hot. He is the playboy of the tabletop group. Alrighty, so let's get going. I am Dale, farm boy. I think we should also, as much as possible, give clear physical descriptions, because then if people want to make fan art, it'll be cool to see what they come up with. So let's say I'm a straw-haired, long, sort of fairly wavy, curly, grubby little boy. When I say little boy, he's 17.
You're his squire?
Oh, I'd go for that.
That would work awesome. That's like a perfect
So let's say,
connection.
and as far as, putting people on pedestals in stories and all this stuff, there would have been people and knights and whatever who came through town, and in a one-horse small little town, obviously they would have, been somewhat mysterious or whatever. But yeah, I think my family would have tried to get rid of me by attaching me to this guy as a squire, and maybe there was... You might have tried to fob me off. I don't know what your character's personality is like, so maybe you can sort of define it, but I thought essentially maybe there could be this moment where I sort of persuaded you with my skill rather than my personality, but you might have difficulty putting up with my personality in favour of wanting my skill around, and my help, of course, because I'll be a squire. But I don't get everything right, but I know enough.
Just to also fill you in about squires, it's not necessarily the menial, kick up the bottom, Disney's sword and stone type of squire. Squires are actually, from where you came from, a really high prestigious position, in society. You actually inherited a lot of kind of clout when you became a squire. Having said that though, because Mackie is not sworn to any lord, a lot of the respect comes from who you serve. And so because you're a squire of a knight who doesn't really have a lord.
But still considering where I came from, it's really good.
It means you're allowed to carry swords in towns. Whoa! That's actually huge. Otherwise it would be illegal. And so...
awesome. So I am the squire of... What's his name?
Alaric.
Alaric.
Sir Alaric.
Awesome. The what?
Yes, that's important.
We'll get to that.
Titles. Sir Alaric.
The hot.
The Witcher.
The Witch. Or
What's another name for a Witcher though?
Yeah, because copyright issues.
We just use a different font.
A witch hunter is what they're called in D&D, isn't it?
Yeah, but I Witcher does sound good though.
The demon
the
hunter.
Slayer.
It sounds too epic. It's very specific. It's paranormal stuff.
You could have been given one when you killed that sorceress, because you were the one who killed
her. The cursed?
No.
The demon
firebrand.
That's cool.
Sir Alaric Firebrand.
I like it.
Sounds pretty cool.
Cool. So I'm squire to Sir Alaric Firebrand, who puts up with me. I'm not great in terms of being from a large town and family. The reason I became a squire, not my siblings or whatever is because A, I wasn't good at farming and actually making sustainability work, and everyone else was, and B, they wanted to get rid of me, but C, also I had some skill and some want to explore and go out there. So I was pretty enthusiastic, and I have a lot of, I put Sir Alaric on a pedestal because that's all quite fantastical to me. Anyways, so that's what he looks like. Straw head, scrawny, wears pretty baggy clothes, and he wears adventuring gear now that he's going out and about, so belts and bags and a little short sword and things like that. But it all looks
some armor as well.
leather armor. Let's say like
Doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
It's padded.
Padded armor.
Leather armor is actually a historical anomaly in the medieval period.
Padded armor.
Lamella existed before the medieval period, and buff coats existed after the medieval period.
He wouldn't have plate or anything like that. And is very.
He might have a mail hallbook. It's just
he wouldn't wear mail
shirt.
No, he padded armor.
Yep.
Lots of straps. He carries lots of heavy stuff. He's got 2 points in reflex, so he's very, very fast. He was always the first in, first out sort of thing. Like really, really, really quick because he had to be, but also like used to go sprinting and do his slingshotting and all this stuff. So he has 2 points in perception and -1 to grapple because he's so scrawny and like lightweight. He has 3 points in aim throw, 1 point in sleight of hand and 1 point in stealth. That probably would have had to come from trying to survive and eat food. -1 in persuasion and 2 in infiltration. You were going to say something?
I wanted to know if your characters had vices and stuff like that. We know what yours is, food, okay, but also some vices, but also lifelong goals as well.
Yeah, so I'll get to that after the stats. So I have 1 point in farmer, just because I kind of have to, and 2 points in slingshot, the weapon proficiency. 3 destiny points as default, I'm assuming. And how many commerce points do I have?
Oh, you?
Yeah.
Like 1 or 2.
1 is pauper / homeless, 2 is commoner.
Yeah, 2.
2. So I have 2 commerce points. Have we explained to you how commerce points work, Amy?
No.
I don't believe so.
Ooh, cool.
We don't need to explain the whole thing.
No, we can go roughly into it. Anyways, so in terms of goals and aspirations and moving forward and all this stuff, he really wants to be in the spotlight because he never has been. He hungers for that and food. He hungers for food. So he wants a life where he doesn't necessarily have to be the hero. He would be living his dream if Sir Alaric became a very well-known knight and he was the squire who was backing him up and doing a good job. You know, he wants to do a good job and he wants banquets around him all the time. But he's really skinny, so there's this really weird sort of like, for someone so food obsessed, he's uncannily scrawny. He's not very tall, he's like 5'7".
I'd say I'd be pretty rich, wouldn't I, Shad? Being an ex-knight and fighting, because I would be somebody that people go through for naturals.
Poor, but rich is like owning land and having a title. And
I thought when you became a knight, they gave you land.
No,
That's not true.
A lot of knights don't. It'll also depend on period, but a lot of knights don't have land, but they have sworn fealty to a lord who has land. Okay, if you have land, you're almost always automatically a baron.
Okay.
Because that's the title for landowners. Because then people who want to, because this is a feudal kingdom, so the system works like this: there are people who own land, and then there are people who don't own land and want to eat food, and they are not allowed to farm on land that isn't their own. You own land, so therefore I come to you and say, will you let me farm this part of land that you're not using so I can then not starve? You say, fine, you give me most of the food that you will farm, but you have to swear fealty to me to serve me for the rest of your life.
Okay,
and they become your serf. And then that is serfdom, that's what the feudal system is. And so the serfs work the land, but in return the lord says, well, of course, if you work for me, I'll protect you. Because guess what? I got knights, they've sworn fealty to me as well. And so you work my land, produce the food, I'll protect you from the wolves and the bad things and stuff like that, and it's a mutually beneficial arrangement, except you're never going to progress in life and you're always going to be under my boot.
Yeah, okay.
That's feudalism. So, but what happens is, how you kind of can get out of that is if you come to the Lord and say, I want to hold a sword for you. Okay, I might let you be my retainer or man-at-arms. And if you perform particularly well there, then one of his knights might take you on as a squire. Generally, that's more rare. They'll generally look to page boys amongst the nobility for them to become squires, but there is a chance. And then if you become a squire, well, guess what? That's a lead into being a knight. And then you still might not have any title land at all, but you're a knight, a legitimate knight. And so then you look for other lords and so fealty. And if you want to progress even further, if you perform really well in wars and battles, well, then you might get a land title. So that's kind of the progression system. So where do you come from? How did you become? Because you joined the Crusades, the Crusaders, and they can come from anywhere.
Yeah, so when I left the Crusaders and became essentially a sellsword in a manner of speaking, I guess, in a way, a hedge knight as you put it, I'm going to say most of my jobs and stuff came from people who have supposedly seen supernatural stuff, and I've gone to investigate and offered my services for a slightly higher fee to an average knight.
Now remember, your paranoia is that you think anything that is supernatural or unnatural is evil and needs to be killed right away.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to learn about them so you can kill them.
Yes, basically.
Awesome. That's actually going to be quite useful because you would have written. You have a couple of notes in your book about certain things.
How many points do we have to spend?
So 8 points in skills, and that's both skills, proficiencies, and vocations.
+3 for every point in intelligence, +2 for any rolled disabling
+3
characters.
for any point in intelligence.
Yes.
So how about you, Amy? You need to start putting skills down.
Alrighty. Well, okay, I'm thinking of daggers as a weapon. Is that
Oh yeah,
that
of course.
run right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
What's your character's name?
Sadie.
Sadie.
S-A-D-I.
How did we meet Sadie?
So, okay, at this point, are you guys already...
We're a party.
Okay. Now, it's not uncommon for a knight to have more than one servant. A knight can have multiple squires if needed.
We should rename this campaign Mackie's Bitches.
Yeah, you could probably. Because, you could have been brought on to polish armor, wash clothes, cook the food, stuff like that. Or something a bit more on level playing field.
Okay, well, I'm a good cook because I lived with my auntie and she was the town's baker. Okay, but I used to sneak out when she didn't know and practice with daggers because that was the only thing I could carry around town without being in trouble.
Very good. Awesome. So you're a knife fighter.
Yeah.
Can I just mention we have 63 viewers right now? This is like double our previous best. That's
Welcome
awesome.
everyone. Good to
Thank
see
you all so much for joining us. This is just for those watching on YouTube or listening on SoundCloud. This is us talking to the live audience on Twitch. Anyways, go on.
So with daggers, which does it come under reflex or?
Dagger will be a proficiency.
Okay,
so
okay.
Under proficiency, so you've got shrinking. You're going to add daggers to that as well. Because what will happen, you'll have 8 points +3 from your intelligence to spend on all skills,
plus those
vocations, and proficiencies. So that 8 points can be spent wherever you like, as long as it's among those areas.
But you'll notice proficiencies, which can be weapon or magic proficiencies, have a limit of 2. Whereas everything else has a limit of up to 4.
Oh, 4. Okay.
They're all subdivided into too many boxes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just to make it nice and confusing for you.
We like to confuse people.
Cool.
Okay.
We're
doing good.
Well,
We're doing very good.
Oh, what do your characters look like? Did you guys do physical descriptions?
Not yet,
Not
but we
quite
do need
yet.
to figure out how Amy joined
That's true.
you guys.
So,
Are you a small town girl or are you a city girl? And how old are you?
I'm 19.
Okay.
Okay, so I was I'd already left at this point from my auntie's place, and I'd gone through a few towns to a bit of a larger town. Okay, I started in a little town, to a bit of a larger town, and I was at the inn looking for a bit of work because I'd run out of money that I took from my auntie. So I was working there, cooking the food, while you guys happened to stop there for the while, and I overheard a conversation of yours and decided I'd jump on the bandwagon.
Okay. I do need to voice a very possible conflict. Remember Mackie's paranoia?
Yes.
And what special ability do you have?
Well, there goes the campaign. Mic drop, walk out. Well, that's going to be useful.
It'll be very interesting. Don't fail your rolls.
I have a very low
But and
perception.
is there a way she could convince him it's from God, or can we assume that that has taken place?
No, that's possible.
So if you have deception, it will help you out.
Persuasion.
Either one. I have low.
Or we can assume that that's taken place and cut the fat and play the campaign. Like, because we could say we've been a party for years and, you know what I mean? Like, or a year or something, and that's
I
kind
don't know. I kind of like it more that he doesn't know, and then it's conflict. And
That's
My
up to
character
you.
is unlikely
It's
to
your prerogative.
find out potentially if she's good at persuading.
So the trick that we do need to figure out is if you are aware of Mackie's powerful paranoia. Yeah.
It would definitely. She would have to.
Well, I
How-
would assume you'd be talking about it a lot, how
Yeah,
evil things
that's-
must
yeah.
Yeah. So
be.
why would you still be traveling with him then? Because kind of your whole life, your parents have been trying to hide you. You've been trying to hide you because of this special supernatural little thing that you got going. So then, why on earth would you be traveling with this guy?
To find out more about herself.
That
Because
could
I
be
know about
true.
supernatural things.
Probably yes, because
Yeah.
he has knowledge. He's been writing and collecting and figuring out. So you might think the only way that you can really figure out about what's going on with you is through him.
Yep. Okay, I like that.
Okay.
I think also because my lifelong goal is to not have to hide myself, like not have to be afraid, because that's what has been happening my whole life. And I feel as if I can convince one person, I can convince many.
All right, very good. So that's kind of your goal. You want to, you know, convince. What's your character's name again, Mackie?
Sir Alaric Firebrand.
Alaric Firebrand.
And he would have no small reputation of being a specific sort of hunter. You're really putting yourself in the way of the fire here, like you, so to speak. Oh God! All right, this is feeling good. I'm
doing good.
So
Are there
excited,
dragons
and we
in
get to
this
start role playing this session.
Sorry?
Dragons in this universe?
Yes, but no.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to think of a name for the book that I carry with
Yeah.
me that I write all the stuff in it.
I will tell you something about out of character that your characters would not know at all, but I'll just help you kind of understand how this world works, okay? All the fantasy creatures don't actually come from the realm. They come from different planes, different kind of pockets of reality kind of thing. And then there are sometimes rifts between worlds where they slip through. And so these rifts, dependent on the world that they come from, for instance, they say dwarves come from the, the underground. I forget the concept, the word. It slipped my mind. I forget. Anyway, and so the tears to say where the dwarves live would always be through caves and through mines and through things like that. And the tears into where the elves come from would be in forests and stuff like that.
Okay, so there's a consistency to it.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right, are we ready to start?
I think so, yeah.
Awesome. Let's wrap up this video and then we'll start up in a new one. Thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you.
Who's pumped?
All right.
I'm pretty pumped.
All right.
This
pretty excited.
and the mission just fits in perfectly with like your characters.
Awesome.
Like, yeah, it works.
Awesome.
Great.
All right, thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.